Hello and welcome to India IT 360's The Tech Tea podcast. I'm your host, Survi, working as a senior content writer at India IT 360 and welcomes everyone to our Tech Talk series. In this series, we'll talk about the growing market of blockchain technology and how it is evolving businesses across India. Today, I have a very special guest with me, Mr. Prince Joseph, Group CIO, SFO Technologies Private Limited from the Nest Group. A very warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, Survi. Thank you for having me. I think this context and this particular topic is quite relevant. There's a lot
Yeah,
of work that we are also doing. I would not claim to have any expertise beyond a certain point, but it is a
right.
technology we are exploring. We are seeing potential there, and we can talk about kind of the areas that we have dabbled in it and where we are
Right.
seeing results and where we can see project certain use cases.
Okay. So, sir, you have worked for, as you told, that you are working for blockchain and you have at some extent, you have this knowledge. So, I'll ask you tell us something about yourself.
By God's grace, the journey has been a very eventful one. I've had the opportunity of working in the Middle East for nearly 18 years with a fantastic organization called the Emirates Group and the Emirates Airline. I worked in various departments there in IT. We were serving
Right.
various group entities, which varied from tour operations, travel, hospitality, internal IT, airport operations, airline, commercial systems,
Yeah.
passenger, cargo. So that was a terrific amount of experience, and there's a lot of focus on innovation and transformation. Emirates is known for being a differentiator in terms of
Mhm.
the kind of service and products that they give out to their customers. That was a great place to not just work in one company, but the whole experience was working almost like working in 15 different companies, and it's because
Mhm.
it's multicultural, it's geographically spread. It's a global airline. The
Right.
exposure was a whole another level, and then the journey has taken me through the ranks in IT, looking at various aspects which is important from services and management, technology, applications, what's critical, data centers, um, moving to huge business applications, which could be ERPs and like moving into cybersecurity, technology parts like mobility, wireless, some of the things that we have done, even before the days when mobile apps were there. Emirates has been one of the first ones to come into those spaces. Um, Gaining all that experience and trying to be the IT head of a business unit, playing that role as a business IT head, playing the role of a mini CIO. I carried that forward into the journey forward when I moved into MK Group and ISYX, then with NTC, so in supply chain, in IT services, and now for the last 5 years, I'm with SFO Technologies and Nest Group. So I'm the Group Chief Information Officer here,
Right.
in a completely new industry. But you brought along so much of knowledge and experience.
Right.
You are able to bring so much of transferable knowledge, but at the same time, you know how to add value. You know what is important. You're able to help the business leaders also make the right sort of decisions in terms of digital solutions. You're also able to learn and you're also able to share because you've not always been having a very successful journey. You've also made mistakes, and that all
Right.
factors in. And I think at the end of the day, when you come to this point, you are a leader, but you're also humble. You make decisions, but you also listen to others, and there's a fine balance in trying to find out how do we get a good outcome for the unit that we are working for, and how do we get this business to be growing.
Right. Such a what you call a diversified journey you have been experiencing, right? I would say. So talking about
True, true,
today's
true.
true, yeah. So talking about tech development in today's globally evolving scenario, where technology changes almost every day. Every day it's changing. We are experiencing, we're seeing everything new coming up. And so, what do you think about using blockchain technology to focus on transparency and security for the overall development of an operation?
So it comes down to um, you know there's the whole principle of keep it simple, but when you keep it simple, you also need to balance it with a few other needs in
Right,
terms of security, in terms of trust, in terms of trying to make yourself do things which is optimized. So where blockchain comes in is in a place where we feel uh, I'm going to kind of recite or relate to you how manufacturing works. So if we are working for a very critical industry like healthcare or say aerospace and defense, you are
right,
manufacturing something which is highly confidential, highly sensitive, and you need to be able to have absolutely no tampering in the whole production process. So if you're
right.
making a very complex defense kit, it is not going to be
Mhm.
one thing that you produce. It's actually a thousand things coming together. But when somebody designed that this is what we need to do, that
Right,
design has got to be honored throughout the process of building, development, production, and shipping. That nothing has changed through this journey. It means that it's like if you're trying to put together a medicine, none of the ingredients are changed because if the ingredient is
okay,
changed, it turns into poison or it turns into
right,
something else, or it won't work. So what we need to have is, and we are contractually obligated to ensure that the components which is part of the bill of material is there is an integrity to it. How we picked it up, whether they were the right part numbers, whether it was the right quantity, whether the right treatment was done to it, the right tests were done on every stage. This information needs to be kept throughout the stages of what we call as the routing of this manufacturing. And this needs to be provided along with the product when you're giving it back to the customer. So he has full confidence that this was built the way I specified it, and you're giving me
right,
the same thing with that level of quality. Now, right now, how would you do it? You got so much of data, you got so much of results, you got so much of documents, you've got so many systems coming in. Some of the testing is done bespoke in systems and test applications created just for this. So how do you make sure that this is not changed anywhere? This is
right,
where one application of that traceability, that immutability, we need to have a way of trying to see, well, how can we use an internal blockchain part where this data can be saved? The documents, the contracts are going to be used in such a way that there is zero risk of, or we eliminate the risk of data tampering, and we are able to create immutable records of transactions. And this enables the trust between us and our customer. So this is one of the pieces of work that we're trying to develop and see how far we can go with this.
oh great, such a in-depth knowledge about it. So tell us, what potential does blockchain holds to change, or you can say transform the overall industry? Does it have just help us understand, understand our audience, what does blockchain holds for us?
Okay, again, from what I'm exposed to, and I will candidly admit I'm not a blockchain expert, but
Yeah,
we all know what's been done with Bitcoin. We know what's happening in the crypto space.
right, right,
While the whole crypto concept is built on blockchain, there's also a lot of things that's coming which we need to be worried about in terms of how crypto is misused and abused, and there's a the whole scam part, because one thing is
right,
while it ensures trust, the other part is you don't know what is happening behind the scenes. So in some cases it's a black box. So now you can complicate this even further by looking at, from my industry, we got IoT coming in. When you bring
right.
in industrial IoT, then we got the whole industry going towards Gen AI and adopting Gen AI. So AI and IoT, automation, analytics. You are trying
Mhm.
to bring all this together, and then you're also trying to have the blockchain technology to be integrated to all of this. This fusion is not so easy. It but if you do it right, then the
Right,
impact and the potential that it can have on industry and on responsiveness and on the whole vision of it achieving something magical is still there. But I
Okay.
can't say that I'm seeing it to that level. There's a lot of work to be done. We are working with so many entities, so that's the other problem, because not everybody is on the same playing field and same level of competence and knowledge. So while we have to deal with cross-border things, we have to
Right.
mitigate risk. We have to make sure whatever we decide to do is not going to have an adverse effect on my organization and my business today. But at the same time, we need to work together to kind of build this large platform of handshaking done across all these technologies. Then we can result.
Right.
We can see incredible results. So that's a revolution that can still happen, but it's still it's at the early stages. Now we've
So
got
this
so many
revolution
Lego
is gonna.
blocks.
Can we say that this blockchain revolution is transforming the industry, the IT industry? Has it the potential of transforming the industry? What would you say on that?
So blockchain per se offers to impact a certain area. Now
Right.
you add the other components of emerging technology coming in, and then you have a different proposition altogether. So the possibilities are now a little bit more complex, a little bit more larger in scope.
Yes.
But the problem is, I'm not working in a place where I'm trying to change the world and make the world a better place. I mean, I'm going to be very candid here. I'm trying to say
Right.
I've got a job to do for my boss, and I need to do that to the best of my ability. So from that scope, there's one way to look at it. But if I were to look at the bigger scope, and if I had a remit and a responsibility that was larger, I would say yes, I can do even much more bigger things. But for what is needed
Right.
for the objectives of the organization I work for, this is what we're limited to. But this is also a start. Hopefully, this will scale out in a global way, and then the
Right.
transformation and the impact on the industry and the world can be much better.
It can be a much better place. Right. Right.
Correct.
Definitely. So, does it really work when it comes to display of transparency and trust in the business process? Does it really help in that?
So when I mentioned at the beginning, there is no business that's going to come my way if I am not going to
Right.
be able to protect the IP that I'm being given. So if the intellectual property that I create, the intellectual property that my customer want, it passes on to me in terms of, for
Right.
example, he's asking me to create a product. The product has not come to the market yet, but he's asking me to manufacture it for him. That means he has
Right.
given me something. It's like, if imagine I'm an iPhone manufacturer. Now
Right.
everybody is waiting for the uh, what do you call those photos of the phones that come out before it's actually come out, right? Now we've
Right.
got the
Right.
whole design. We've got the whole. Imagine we are one of those players. We've got the whole design. Can we just put it out in the market? We can. Everybody will like to copy it, and we'll be. But our business will shut down.
Right.
Our business is built on the fact that you trust us. Your IP is safe with us. What we do on the specs that you're given to us, your bill of materials, we will apply everything that is required to ensure its security. This would mean,
Okay.
whether it's the chain of books that we're talking about, whether it means we're talking about cryptographic algorithms that will be applied, we will take care of it. Whether it means to build in fault tolerances and reliability wherever it's needed in the whole chain, that we will do, because that's the assurance we want to give back, because that's the only way we'll get continued business. So we need to demonstrate this. Our customers come and audit us very frequently. I'm
Right.
not talking about a yearly once. I'm talking far more than that. So if that's the case, we are always ready to show, this is the evidence of what we are doing. This is how we are doing things. And hence
Right.
the process that we follow, the transparency in that, and the output and the demonstration to build the trust is something which I think is absolutely crucial for us.
Right. So today, talking about on the same ground, so data security is utmost importance right now at the present time, right? Data security, every data from employee to organization, every data has to be secured. So, do you think organizations can effectively safeguard their data using blockchain technology?
Um, the answer should be a straightforward yes, but I would say that
Okay.
we have not really gone to the point of saying or implementing it to such a level that we are doing it across the board. Now, when we also deal in businesses, we are also looking at certain parts of the business doesn't require this level of rigor, but certain parts of the business requires a high level of rigor. So that means I need to deal with another level of complexity that says it's not one course that I'm running on. I need to
Yeah.
to play with multiple levels. So
Right.
on the higher level, we try to go with whatever is the best practice in the industry 4.0. If it
Mhm.
in terms of security, we would say, we need to have multi-signature wallets. We have implemented HSMs, which is like the hardware security modules to go in there. We need to use
Right.
cryptography, private keys. We need to make sure that access is absolutely secure. So hashing and those techniques, which is part of already built into blockchain, kind of
Right.
helps. It lends itself to that sort of an area. But on the other area, it tends to become a bit of an overkill, and we may be over engineering a solution over
Right.
there. So there, some of the more standard methods would apply. So it just depends on, pick the right horse for the right course.
Okay. So does it have a future in both, if we say in the context of India and global level? Does it have any, future? Do we see as blockchain as a security system that is going to save? Can we say that?
Um, Blockchain should be adopted a lot more. I'm personally not very happy with the way the whole adoption has taken place. It came onto the scene several years back, but I don't see the adoption to be matching what it should have been, because the hype at that point of time was something else. But today, if you
Right.
look at the realization, I think it's probably at a quarter of what it should be, or even less. The widespread adoption. The big players, it's also sad that many enterprises also are still vendor led in terms of adopting
Right.
solutions. If your main partners and vendors and that ecosystem isn't really adopting it to that level, then chances are your typical MNC, your typical SME will not adopt it unless you
Right.
are driving it yourself and saying, this is a priority for me, this is part of my strategy, and I need to have this implemented. So that's where I'm seeing, unless you're driving it, you're not really getting someone to come and give you a solution of the block and say,
Right.
of the block and say, pick it up from the shelf and just apply this, and it gives you this. So in one sense, potential is still there. It is not a technology that has received or reached the breadth that it should have.
Right.
As for some reason, there are things which are still holding it back. I wish that the adoption by the ecosystem is a little bit better. I see a promise in it, and I see it has got huge potential. There is a very strong community that's behind it, and I
Right.
think it's
Mhm.
probably going to take a little bit more time for it to tip the scale and become a little bit more broader in adoption. But that's how I see it right now.
Okay. So moving on to your latest article that was published on our website, India IT's platform, in the Leaders Tech Talk section. So congratulations for that. And how was your experience? What suggestions do you give us? Like, what would you pin for us that that we should strengthen our platforms? How can we? Like, just a suggestion from you would.
no, no, I mean, see, every time I get an opportunity to share something, I also do a little bit of homework. And I
Right.
appreciate someone who comes and asks me questions, because it means that I need to go and find an answer. And
Right.
those are things I appreciate. And to me, you should be having that attitude of you know, uh, I heard a question. I need to go find an answer. Let's go find out some information today. Let's
Right.
learn. Don't get out of that track, because getting into work and operations and meetings and all that stuff, you may not come out with knowledge. For that, please dedicate
Right.
a little bit of time. And there is value. And I'm always biased towards people who do spend a little bit of time reading and learning something and sharing, because it
Right.
helps me. Everybody is a guru at the end of the day. It's like recently
Right.
it was Guru Purnima also. So
Mhm.
you have to be interacting with people who are also able to tell you something which you haven't heard before. So, and you also want to be useful to other people in that sense, because I'm not going to be
Right.
able to give you money or any of that stuff. But yes, some of the words, if it's useful, if it turns to be informative, that's something which I would feel like, yeah, it's a yeah, credit. So that's the kind of transaction I look for, and I think you should always be ready. Your wallet should be full with those kind of transaction
Right.
currencies.
Right. Thank you, everyone, for watching our latest interview on blockchain technology. You heard our special guest, Mr. Prince Joseph, speaking on the growing role of blockchain in today's tech world. That's all for today. This is your host, Survi Sahai, signing off for the day. I'll see you soon with another tech leader's valuable insight. Until then, take care and bye bye.